Hi everyone, Lewis here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another DayZ Standalone news update. I've got some really interesting news, and the gameplay in the background you're seeing right now is from a DayZ dev blog from the 7th of September, which I will talk about a bit later. But the really big news in the past week or so on DayZ Standalone was in the form of a tweet from Rocket, and he said this on screen right now. Since Rocket stopped making the DayZ daily updates for a while, a lot of people were inquiring as to what the hell is happening with Standalone. You really need some good communication considering no one knows when the hell it's coming out. So he came out with this tweet, which does of course claim that they're actually on the final lap of DayZ Standalone. If you somehow don't get that, that probably means, assuming Rocket does follow up with his claims, that the game should be coming out, I'd imagine, in the next few months. And some people have speculated dates. You may have noticed right at the start of the video, actually, one of the masks, which you can now get in Standalone, is the Guy Fawkes mask. So some people think it's coming out in November because of that. Personally, I do believe it's coming out this month. Well, not really this month, it's actually at the end of September right now. But next month, October. It just seems like a good month for a soft release, which is really what Rocket was aiming for. Not getting loads of hype around it and then them having lots of issues in the alpha, but instead releasing it to the public, making it so that people really who are only really interested in the game of once purchasing it, and then building on from the game from there. If you're an old follower of the DayZ Standalone news, you might remember this happening quite a few times in the past. For example, in the previous year, Rocket did claim it was going to be coming out in Q4. And of course he didn't follow up with that date, and it also happened just a few months ago. But both reasons for actually pushing it back were good. If you didn't know already, when it was planned for Q4 of 2012, it was originally just going to be the DayZ Standalone mod, but, you know, in a standalone form. But then, of course, I wanted to do much more than that and make it a completely separate game, giving the game its own gameplay features, its own feel, make it a run better, because that, of course, was one of the biggest things which really sucked about the DayZ mod. So it makes sense why it was pushed back. But Rocket's done this a few times now, saying it's going to be coming out here, or people have just got a bit overexcited by some words he might have said in the wrong order, and making assumptions because of that. But I genuinely feel this time, although we're seeing in a few months, I'll probably be wrong, that Rocket is going to follow up with his claims, because otherwise that's going to be the third time Rocket has stated not a solid release date, but saying it's going to be coming out soon, and then it doesn't. So we'll see what happens in a few months with that. But I'm hoping for October, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys probably would love it in October too. Although November I'll do as well, if they really do want to follow up with a whole Guy Fawkes mask, but that seems a bit weird to me. So before I talk briefly about the DayZ Standalone blog from September, which like I said is on the screen right now, I thought I'd quickly show you guys this screenshot right here, which is from Ivan, one of the devs on DayZ Standalone, and this is actually a reworked version of Polana. It's nothing mind-blowing, I've realised, but it is pretty cool to hear that they are reworking a lot of the areas which you might have found in the original Chernarus map. It was already confirmed that they had changed some things, but this is yet another city which, as you can see right here, is completely different to how it was in Chernarus. It was confirmed a while ago as well, but was actually going to be a few more cities up north on the new Chernarus map for DayZ Standalone, so you can expect to see this quality of cities up there as well. And this will of course encourage people to actually go to places other than the northwest, northeast, Cherno, Electro and all those kind of things, because these places have actually got lootable areas, which is really awesome. But that is pretty much it in terms of Twitter and DayZ Standalone, but it is a lot of really good news, and I am excited for the game after watching the newest DayZ dev blog, and hopefully I should be able to show you guys some of the cool features which Rocket's shown off in that. The original video was 22 minutes, but I'm going to give you guys a lovely shortened version of that. So just a few seconds on the screen, and on the floor right now you can see there is a box right there. That box you are actually able to put in your inventory. It takes up 4 slots, and when you put it on the floor, you're able to open it up, so it's basically like expanding your inventory in a sense. You're able to put extra stuff in there, an extra 2 slots. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it is something which wasn't in the DayZ mod. It should make it a bit more interesting to loot people finding a box and just wondering what the hell is in it. And also it's actually got a second use, which I'll talk about in a second. Another thing you probably noticed already if you were paying attention to the footage is that the M4 is now completely pimped out. You can get numerous different stocks, a lot of customization for the rifle. You actually have to manually load the magazines into the gun. If you've got them in your inventory, they're not just going to magically go into the gun, so you're able to do some inventory management in there. And also you can see that Rocket is wearing a press ballistics vest, which will of course stop some gunshots if they are aimed at the player's chest. It's something Rocket talked about a long time ago, but we do plan on having numerous different chest pieces which you can have. Maybe one which would be perhaps better for getting stabbed by someone. If you're getting stabbed by someone or something in Cherno, then you might want to opt for the stabbing vest. But of course, for most people, I'm sure they wouldn't mind a bit extra armor if you do end up getting shot. It could save your life, and it does actually have the ability to completely stop bullets. Of course, eventually it is going to break once you get a few shots into it, which of course I will talk about in a second, which also has something to do with a box, which I just shown you guys But again, this is why it took so long to transition from the DayZ mod to DayZ Standalone, because they've actually put a lot of work into making the Standalone completely different to the mod. This is something which I was talking about a second ago as well, but you can see in the bottom right, the player has an M4A1 in his hands, hence the little hand symbol, and he's got an ACOG on it, a stock, and what Rocket's trying to do right here is actually manually load ammo into a magazine, another thing which of course wasn't in the DayZ mod, although it has been in a DayZ mod before, but you can see of course in the bottom left it says cannot load 30 round Stanag well attached to the M4A1, so it makes perfect sense. You can't actually put the ammo into a magazine unless it is in your hands. There's also been a lot of work with the inventory system you might have seen at the start, so that way if, say for example, you find a shirt on the floor, originally you'd have to drop your old shirt, then put your old shirt on, and it was a bit weird, but now you can literally just drag and drop the shirt onto your character, and kaboom, it works lovely jubbly. So we are doing quite a lot of work on just making the inventory system a bit easier to use, which is of course good, because the inventory system in DayZ sucked, because, you know, it's Armour 2, it wasn't designed for that kind of stuff. So the next thing Rocket talked about is actually durability on items. You can see right here, these are 3 pairs of boots, one of them full condition, one of them slightly worn, and of one very damaged. So this ties back to the stuff I was talking about before with the bulletproof vests and also the ammo box. It's actually been designed so that for every single item you've got on your character, say for example I shoot someone in the leg, it will actually damage their pants, and if someone's got an item in their pants, when you're shooting them, it will damage those items. And I think the main reason they did this is to kind of change the mentality of people in DayZ. A lot of people go around killing on sight, but hopefully this should make robbery a bit more of a common thing. I really do like robberies, but to be honest, in the DayZ mod, you've got no reason to do it. You can just shoot them, ensure you're fine, and then you just move on. But now you've got to really take care with where you're landing the shots. Say, for example, you shoot someone in the head as well. Of course, that's not going to damage all of the magazines they've got in their inventory, in like their jacket, their pants and whatnot. So it will make the PvP in the game a bit weird at first, but hopefully after a while people should get a good feel with what's a right thing to do in this game. Like I said, in the mod, people just kill on sight. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people do kill on sight, but I'd imagine in Standalone a lot of people have a reason to do otherwise. You might be wondering, what the hell does that box have to do with anything? Well, with pretty much every item you're able to give it separate attributes. So say for example, if it was something which Rocket wanted to do, you could get a box which was armored, so that way if someone does end up shooting you or something like that, it would actually be protected. And it is something Rocket shows at the end with durability. Shooting someone in the head, like I said, will of course damage the appropriate items. The next thing which Rocket's showing off was a bit more of hostage mechanics added to the game, which will of course tie in with the whole kill on sight mentality. But now you're actually able to get handcuffs and keys and tie up people. They can actually struggle well in this phase, but of course it will take a long time, and if the person who captured you sees you struggling, they're probably not going to be too happy. But of course, if you do end up killing the person who captured your friend or something like that, you can go ahead and unlock them. Again, another feature which will of course add some depth to the whole PvP gameplay. To be honest, that's pretty much all of the interesting things which were in the DayZ dev blog for September. Right here near the end, he does show off the durability in action, shooting someone in the chest and showing how it will actually decrease the durability, and also if they do have a vest, how it will completely stop the bullet altogether. I would recommend checking out the full DayZ dev blog. I will have a link to it in the description below. And the last 2 things which Rocket actually mentions in the video while running around as a rat for some odd reason is talking a bit about the networking for the game, the network bubble. If you guys have heard that term before, it's really the thing which is stopping the release of the DayZ Standalone to the public, but hopefully that should be resolved, like I showed you guys at the start of the video, within the next 1 to 2 months, I'm hoping. And also a bit about the zombie pathing, as that was also a big issue in the DayZ mod. The network bubble is a really big issue with performance, and if they do have it sorted out for the DayZ Standalone's release, then you should expect a rather different experience to the DayZ mod. It should run pretty good, and also for the servers it should be nowhere near as intensive, which does of course open up some more slots perhaps for some servers, so you can have some lovely 150 slot Shinoris maps. I've got no idea why you want to do that, but you can, and that's all that matters. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Feel free to leave your thoughts on DayZ Standalone as it is right now. Like I said, personally for me, I was a bit unsure as to how the development's going, but once I watched the newest DayZ dev vlog like I mentioned before, I thought it looked pretty good. If they get the whole network bubble thing sorted out along with the zombie pathfinding, then it should be a really big step up from the DayZ mod. And also, when do you guys think it's going to be coming out? Because I've heard a lot of mixed things about it. Do people even think it's going to be coming out in the next 2 months? Maybe I'm being too optimistic. I don't think I am, but what can I say? Rocket's words were very, very firm, you know. For on the final lap, that just doesn't sound like something which is going to take more than a month to me. A lap doesn't take too long. Unless it's going up Everest for a second time, which could be what's happening. But anyway, like I said, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I shall see you guys next time.